Hi guys, welcome to the Mind Body Spirit podcast. I'm here with provincial soccer player and rep soccer coach Hazem Omaran. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Itai. It's good to be here today. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you, man. Okay, so last time on the show, we were talking to basketball analyst Zoe Azran about different basketball players' play styles, and I was breaking down their biomechanics as well as their training methodologies and body types, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to do the same thing as last time, just in the sport of football, soccer, whichever people prefer, and I would like to use your expertise to break down how they play. So, who should we start with first?
You know what? There's a bunch to pick from, but I think the most debated topic of the last decade is probably Ronaldo versus Messi.
So, who do you want to talk about first? You take your pick.
You know what? Since you are hosting me here, I'd like to maybe pick your brain a bit and just ask you, who do you prefer as a player?
Yeah.
And maybe we can start from there.
You know what? I'm conflicted because certain personality traits of Ronaldo I think are awesome, but as just kind of amazement and shock, it'd be Messi. So let's start with Messi.
You know what? We can start with Messi, but before we get into this debate, let's just say how lucky we are to have both of these players in this era. You generally wouldn't get players of that stature at the same time, so this is something that probably won't happen again. You usually get one guy that's undisputed, no debate about, but now.
Well, so you don't think there's anyone coming this new generation, sort of like Mbappe in the World Cup, that can kind of hold a torch to these guys later on, or do you think you just won't find a rival
you know what?
the same way Messi and Ronaldo have?
Sports science is only improving. You definitely could know about that, right? There's always more research going into training and nutrition, and what players are going to be able to do in the future are definitely going to exceed what players have been able to do in the past. Maybe it's very hard for our minds to grasp that right now, but down the line, I'm sure
we'll be in for something, right?
Yes.
Every generation thinks they hold the gold medal in terms of talent, right?
Yes.
So tell me. So let's start with Messi. So how does Messi play? How does he like to play?
You know what? Messi, a lot of people, when you're doing a comparison between Messi and Ronaldo, Messi, a lot of people say that he has more of a natural flow to it. As Ronaldo, he works hard for what he has. So he has a lot more physical attributes, right? He's faster, he's stronger, taller. As for Messi, he has natural agility, right? That he's able to play in tight spaces. And some of the things, the situations that he gets put in and how he maneuvers out of them just gets people in shock, right? Because it looks so natural. But I think I'll credit that to his quick feet and agility, right, and balance as well.
So that's something incredible that I actually want to touch on. So whenever people think about physical gifts and physical attributes, they tend to think about weight, muscle mass, height, right, stature, all these kind of things, and they judge that. But what people tend to forget about is that reflexes, coordination, peripheral vision, acuity, right? That is something that is also God-given, that can be developed with training, right? We all know that, right? But I think that's what makes it so different between Messi and Ronaldo, even though they're both so gifted, right? Ronaldo's been gifted in stature, in muscle mass, in all these sort of quick twitch muscle fibers that he's able to explode, right? But Messi, doesn't he seem like he sees the game in slow motion?
Yes.
Doesn't he seem like he's just maneuvering around it, sort of like every person around him is invisible?
Yeah, I think that comes down to his IQ of the game, right? He has incredible vision. He is always scanning wherever he's playing. If you watch him play, or you pick a video and just kind of look at what Messi's doing, you'll find that if he's not running, he's checking his shoulders all the time, and maybe before he receives the ball, he's doing 8 to 10 scans before he gets the ball.
So let's think about that. So do you think that is a reflex thing and a coordination thing and an eyesight thing? Or do you believe he has more of a mastery of the game? What makes his IQ better than Ronaldo's?
I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest. But I think what makes his IQ, I wouldn't say, because as a soccer player, you have to be aware of what your surroundings are. But I think what separates him from other players is that he has already 5 options that he already thought of before he receives the ball. Whether he's going to bounce it right off, whether he's going to turn and shoot, whether he's going to play a player running down the wing, he already has scanned all that and knows where his opposition is exactly. He actually spends the first 5 minutes to 10 minutes in the game just roaming around the pitch just to understand and learn his opposition and how they're playing. And that's why when he gets the ball and he plays quickly, it looks incredible, right? It looks like
amazing.
Flawless. Yeah.
So I'm going to switch paces here, shift gears, and start comparing them to physical players that are physically similar to them, right? And you're going to tell me how they differ, and then we're going to try and kind of break down like why they're different if they're so similar, if that makes sense, right?
Sure.
So if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, what is his height? Do you know?
I can't tell you on top of my head, but I think he exceeds the maybe 6'2", 6'3".
And what's his weight like?
I'm going to say he probably weighs around maybe 180 to 190, something like that. Yeah.
Would
I
you
could
say,
be wrong.
Would you say ballparking? Would you say he looks in terms of stature and weight like Ronaldinho?
I think Ronaldinho would be probably somewhere between Ronaldo and Messi.
Gotcha.
Messi-
so
Messi's
let's
short
use your
stature.
expertise. Who do you think is similar in stature, weight, and let's say play style?
To Messi?
Yeah. Would you call it
We can go to
Christian Bale?
Not
Not Christian Bale. What's the other one?
Bale.
Gareth Bale.
So Gareth
See?
Bale is very
That's how you know it's not
comparable.
soccer.
Yeah, Gareth Bale is more comparable to Ronaldo.
Yep.
Big, tall stature.
So is that a similar body?
Yeah, extremely similar body type
Yeah.
to Ronaldo. And if we're coming to Messi, I mean, like, we can compare him to Andres
Maradona?
Iniesta and Maradona. These are
Yeah.
incredible.
So let's do it. Let's break it down. Okay, so I want you to break down for me
All right.
Gareth
Gareth
Bale.
Bale, yeah.
So would you say he plays similar to him? Do you say his stature similar?
Yeah, I think Gareth Bale is younger than Ronaldo, and growing up, he looked up to the play style of Ronaldo, and he tried to emulate everything that Ronaldo would do in terms of, and he was also extremely fast.
He seems a little bit bigger than Ronaldo, doesn't he? And that's what I see when I look at the pitch.
Yeah, I think he hits the weight room a little bit more than Ronaldo, right?
Do you think that's probably like the ectomorph, mesomorph thing I was talking about with Zoe last time, right?
Yes.
So his body type is naturally more muscular than Ronaldo's.
Yes, I would say so.
So do you find he uses his body differently on the pitch? Do you find that he likes certain moves that Ronaldo wouldn't use?
You know what? For the most part, like a lot of people, when you see him play, a lot of people would make that comparison that he had a very similar playing style to Ronaldo. The way he moves on the field, he has the same free kick technique. Yeah, and when it comes to shooting, also very similar style. But the thing with Gareth Bale, he's a lot more injury prone compared to Cristiano Ronaldo.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's way
interesting.
more injury prone than Cristiano Ronaldo.
And why do you think that is? Do you think he takes more chances?
I don't think it's something to do with him taking more chances because they're both dogs, they're both on the field and they're putting their all. I think it has to do more with the way they train, rest, right? I don't know if you know, Ronaldo takes about 5 naps a day.
Really?
To
That's
be
incredible,
able
yeah.
to be able to maintain his performance.
That's
Yeah,
incredible because
yeah.
we were just talking about Kobe Bryant, who I thought didn't get enough sleep
Yes,
and
no
focus
problem.
more on muscle memory development. So Ronaldo is clearly trying to recover.
Yeah, he has the best of the best teams around him. Yeah, he's always, recovery is his #1 priority. Eating good, sleeping well.
Oh yeah, he's been known to spend,
Yeah.
just like LeBron James, millions of dollars on his body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
These small little things that
They make
you
a
know,
difference.
Most amateur players or semi-pro players that don't pay attention to, these are the things that make a difference
So-
when you go into this.
So let's go back to this highest of highest levels in the game. What makes Gareth Bale different in the sense that what is he not recovering enough? What is he lacking? He's still at the same level, right? The highest level you can get in football.
Yeah, his career ended short actually earlier this year. I think he retired in his early 30s.
What was the injury?
He didn't. It was no injury. Just called it off. But he used to have a lot of calf injuries for some reason. Calf, hips, right? So I feel it all kind of stems from each other, right? Like, if
Was there one like catalyst of an injury that like kind of started all this spiraling?
It was calf injuries all the time for him. It was
Really?
calf injuries all the time for him. Yeah.
You know what?
Hamstring injuries
That
as well.
just shows, right? Like you can work hard, you can make it to the top, you can do all that, but you know, life has a way of throwing curveballs for everybody,
Yes.
even the best of the best in the sports,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Let's switch pace, go to Messi, and let's compare him to Maradona. They're both legends. Messi just got his World Cup, right? Maradona's been known to have an amazing career. He's a hero to the Argentinians.
Yes.
And comparatively, how would you compare their careers?
I would say Messi has more of a wholesome career. As with Maradona, regardless of his talent, there was a lot of distractions around him.
Yeah.
But I think Messi was more of a structural player. He had a good system around him, right? Also paid attention to his nutrition, to his training.
Personality? You think personality has something to do with it?
You know, of course, personality, I feel like Messi was a little bit more on the timid side, very coachable, right? As Maradona had an ego, right? Like he was, a lot of the times he was bigger.
Seems like
than
a
the
lot of
club.
those stars in 70s, 80s, and 90s, regardless of sport, tend to have a bigger ego than they do now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Messi for sure also is he's a student of the game, right?
Yeah.
He definitely spent a lot of time just on a training pitch, working on different techniques, and he most of his life he played with the exact same group, right? Like from like 13 up to like mid-20s, it was the exact same team with him, right? So they had like a really good system.
He was with Neymar for a while, I know.
Yeah, that's more in the
More in
recent
the recent years. So
years,
what
yeah.
was that team that
So
consisted of?
Neymar, they had the three top players, attackers. They were called the MSN, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar.
Ah, yeah. So it was Neymar, right?
Yeah.
So let's try to bring it back to sports science right now. Okay, so we have two very similar people in Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, and two very similar body types. And would you say Maradona's playstyle was similar to Messi's?
Very similar, yeah.
Very
yeah.
similar.
There's
Lot
a
of
video
speed, lot of
side by
dribbling.
side of them scoring the exact same
Yeah.
goal.
Just like
There's
Kobe
a couple,
Jordan.
yeah, exactly like that.
Really?
Yes.
So it just shows, right, that like sometimes, and what I want for all the viewers watching this podcast right now, especially those interested in football, soccer, whatever, right? You have to understand, especially if you're kind of like out of puberty or finishing puberty, what you have been given as like your body type, where you excel, like we talked about a second ago, right? Coordination, reflex time, eyesight, right? IQ of the game that might come more naturally. And they should really understand, I don't want to say limitations, right? But where their strengths and weaknesses are, right? And develop that way, right? Because you can see people totally different in Messi, 5'6", a buck, whatever, right? And Ronaldo, what is he, 220, 230?
We were like, I'll give him a little bit less than that.
A little bit less than that, but over 200 pounds, 6 foot, whatever, right? And they're both dominating, and arguably Messi, since he won the World Cup, a little more,
Yes.
right? So it's about training that. So love it. Let's talk about Ronaldinho, because I thought he had the weirdest play style I've ever seen. And when I say weird, I don't mean bad. I mean just like exciting to watch, and
Yeah, it was
I don't think you can teach that play
He
style.
looked like a magician, you know,
Yeah.
just on the field, just gracing the field, doing it
Yeah.
all with a smile. Yeah, he's one.
So describe for the viewers, how does he play? Paint a verbal image for them.
So you just give him the ball and he will just. He felt like he was dancing samba in the field all the way till he puts it in the back of the net. You know what I mean? And in his prime, he had a mixture of good technique with his feet, also very fast and explosive, and was strong in the field as well. So there's a lot of shots where you can see Ronaldinho. He has the ball and he's dancing with it. And he has like three players on him trying to get it, and he would evade from that situation and will take on two other players before he makes a pass, or he takes a shot and puts it in the back of the net. So a lot of the time he
looked like a street soccer player, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Do you think you could teach that sort of play style, or is that one?
You know what? I feel like you cannot teach that. You just have to have the ball at your feet from a very young age and get lots and lots and lots of touches on it. That's the only way you can get to that level, right?
I love it. You really make it easy for me to segue into something else. So you grew up playing soccer, football, whatever, in Egypt, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then you came to Canada when you were...
I was about 15 years old.
And then you went right into rep soccer in Canada.
Yes.
How does it differ? How do play styles differ? And then we're going to talk about around the world, and we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff.
In Canada, when I came here, there wasn't no clear path. I mean, the sport wasn't very popular. Only right now it's starting to get popular. We're a World Cup country.
But how did the different play? How would Canadian soccer players play versus Egyptian soccer players?
Okay, so for Canadian players, it was a lot more structured. There was a lot more focused on like the rules of the game, situations in the game. Versus in Egypt, it was all about the fun. You know what I mean? There was everybody plays a sport. The whole nations, and there's a lot of other nations in the world that their number one sport is soccer.
Oh yeah, I think that's the most played sport in the world.
Yes, it's so a whole nation's mood can be determined by if their national soccer team is doing well or not. So in Egypt, obviously, there's a lot of clubs that are structured and good academies. But what differs is when you're done school, everybody's playing soccer. At recess, everybody's playing soccer.
So there's definitely a mental difference in how the game is approached because of the popularity.
Yes,
but
100%.
But let's kind of figure something out. Now, I'm learning from you. I'm excited to have you on the show, right? How does North American football, European football, African football, South American football, all in all, where do you think the differences are made? And is it something built upon history of World Cups or when the sports started getting played there? But you can pretty much see a European style of play. From my understanding of the game, it seems more tactical when I watch English football.
Yes.
It seems like they're playing chess on the field.
Yes.
And when I see South American football, it seems like they're just kind of running on the sheer talent of their players, right?
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of the South American players are just pure talent, and incredible touch on the ball.
Yeah.
Versus in Europe, it's a very tactical game. I would say in Africa is more of a lot of
athleticism.
Yeah, there's a lot of athleticism and they're strong players as well, right?
Yeah.
Most of them end up going to Europe anyways, and then they start learning the tactical.
Because if you remember that World Cup when Germany beat Brazil 7-1, I think it was.
I think that was World Cup 2014.
Yeah.
In Brazil, and they're
I know, it was riots. It was crazy. Oh my God, it was nuts. But I think that shows that tacticalness can outshine, and team play can outshine individual talent far beyond what, you know.
And and the game has came so far that you need a healthy mixture between both, right? You can't rely on one player or a couple of players that do it all. At the end of the day, if you get an average team and you put a good game plan in play, they can get the job done, right? And it showed from time to time again.
This will segue me into the last thing I want to talk about in the show about young talent. So we talked about different body types, focusing on what you're good at, right? How there's different parts of the game that can be, attributed to different body types, different physiques, different training methodologies, right? So let's talk about this rising star, Mbappe. And I want you to break down his height, his weight, right? His talent, I guess I'd ask for. So like where he shines. Is it like cutting? Is it passing? Is it shooting for the goal, right? Excuse me if I'm butchering, right? Like the right way to call all these moves, right? But break down his play style, break down his physique, and then break down for us where he's learned the game. And do you think he will meet all the expectations going forward to rival all these big names like Messi, Ronaldo, etc.? I asked you for a lot. Good luck.
So he's about 73 kilograms.
Yeah.
5'10". And I would say that he tries to emulate more the way Ronaldo plays. He has a little bit of both, right? Like a little bit, like he definitely has the physical attributes. Also, his IQ, the game, and his speed is probably that sets him apart from a lot of other players out there. Having said that, he got started at a really young age. And he's accumulated many accolades, and he's only 24 years of.
And he plays for PSG, the France team, right?
Yes.
And what do you say his play style is more like?
His play style.
Like in terms of not comparing it to Ronaldo, let's say, but let's say, describe for us. I'm going to cut back. We're going to come right back here. Describe to us French soccer, French football, compared to English football. Is it different?
Yes, 100% different. I mean, both are incredible on the tactical side. I think the French players, they just have a little bit more of a flair when they play, right? Versus English soccer players, they are just strong physically on the field, right? They're all for, winning balls, aerial balls. They're all for winning 50-50 battles, right? And quick on the transition and playing counterattacks. Versus French football right now, they are able to play a ball from the back, control possession, and find their target players.
And where does Mbappe hold true? More like French?
Yes, so Mbappe, he plays for France, and his domestic club is in France as well, right?
Okay, so. PSG, right? So I guess wrapping up what I want to say about him is that what is setting him apart, right? There's tons of talent out there. Where does he shine the most?
I would say with the speed.
Speed, right? He looked like he was fast in the World Cup. Oh my God, he could take off.
Strong, yeah. You give Mbappe the ball on the wing, and he's in a one-on-one situations. He's most definitely.
He got France back into the World Cup. It seems single-handedly. I don't want to say single-handedly, but it seemed like that.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 3 goals in the World Cup in a final, right?
And with the time, like counting down, right? Time was going out, and he was just like, all right.
People were counting out France by the 70th minute, right? And then they looked alive for a bit, right?
You know how he's a true competitor? Do you remember when they were doing the medal ceremony? You see how disappointed he looked?
Yes, yeah, he was very upset, right?
And that's something like...
And he's already won a World Cup at 19 years old, right?
I know.
And he's still, I think that...
And that's something that has nothing to do with play style, that has nothing to do with physicality, that has nothing to do with stature or body type or anything. That's winner mentality, right?
Elite mentality, right? Like there's lots of players with talent out there, right?
Yeah.
And that can do the same things that Mbappe is doing, or Messi, or Ronaldo. Incredible talent out there, but I think the thing that separates all these guys is just being able to perform on this stage with their mentality, right?
Right.
You have to be mentally tough and strong, right? Because also we spoke that soccer is a very popular game. There's no room for error, right? And if you make errors, people are going to be quick to butcher you. And
it literally looks like a chess match sometimes when you watch it from above.
Yes. When you get to that top level, right? And you have the skillful players, you have the fast players, the strong players. At that point, like you said, it's very tactical, right?
So to wrap up the show, I know we talked about the Ronaldo-Messi debate like briefly in the beginning, but I kind of want to wrap up with Ronaldo just because I feel like he is the embodiment of like God-given gifts, stature, weight, size, etc., but with a relentless work ethic.
Yeah, his work ethic
which
is
I
what
respect
sets him apart,
like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So please, like, take us through Ronaldo's play style one more time. What spots does he like? How does he train, right? And I can touch on that because I actually reviewed a little bit of how he's trained, and attest to why he's like that. Because a lot of people at the highest of high levels, right? They kind of, you remember that Rocky movie, Eye of the Tiger? They kind of like, they burn out, don't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of like, whatever, I'm the best. Why, why more? So why do you think he craves everything?
He's obsessed with the game. If you want to paint a picture of obsession, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is just a student in the game. He always prioritizes his training and his nutrition. Aside from being in the gym lifting weight, he's always showing up to practice 2 hours before, and he is the last one to leave the training ground, just always working on his weaknesses. Kind of like the previous episode that you guys had talking about Kobe Bryant, just drilling these moves into his muscle memory. That's exactly what Ronaldo does.
So a little bit of research I did is he is 187 pounds. That means this man has barely any body fat percentage on him, right? That makes sense considering how much cardio you need when you're playing football, especially at that level, right? But I can imagine that, and you've seen him, like he's been given VO2 max tested.
Yes.
I think they've taken his blood on just to kind of see like how much oxygen he's like. Oh, forget even oxygen. Just they've taken blood samples. They've done everything to kind of understand his gifts and him. So I feel like, do you think he could change in terms of how he's playing right now? Like, compare young Ronaldo to old Ronaldo. What is the biggest difference?
I think he's smarter now and more efficient with his energy, right? As a 23-year-old Ronaldo can be running 90 minutes.
Like any athlete that comes into the league, right? You know what, but where do you think he was better when he was younger, or where do you think he's better when he's older? Just IQ of the game from years of experience?
He's better, obviously. I mean, there's a period of his life where he was at his prime. I would say from like the ages of 29 up to like 35. Like that was like prime Ronaldo, unstoppable, right? You can bet your bottom dollar that he's going to score a goal at least, right?
Yeah.
And he had crazy scoring stats.
And are you aware of how his training has changed from a young Ronaldo to an older Ronaldo?
I think from a young Ronaldo to an older Ronaldo, I think it's more focused on recovery. To be honest, it's just how much he's recovering, how much he's fueling his body with the right foods. A lot of lean protein. His diet is
right. Trying to get that protein up to repair all the muscles and such.
His diet is pretty much consistent.
I think you told me that he takes 5 naps a day.
Yes, 5 naps a day, probably 7 meals a day as well, right?
Yeah, because of that insane basal metabolic rate on top of how much he trains.
Yes, he needs
just
it
in
for
such
fuel,
a deficit, right?
Yes. His.
What's his stress management like? Are you aware of any of those sort of training methodologies he does?
You know what? I think his stress management is just spending time with his family. It's just spending time, just realizing what his priorities are. Because a guy like him, he has a lot of distractions around him, right? since a very young age as well. And I think he's managed it well just by being a family man. Spending time with his children, his mother, his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, all these beautiful things in life that helps us stay centered, stay focused, right?
Yes. Because the distractions for him are tons of distractions were on that level.
So just to wrap it up, we just want to review everything we've basically talked about, which is there are a bunch of different body types, there are a bunch of different physical gifts and attributes that different people have, right? From stature to weight to muscular size to explosiveness to coordination to peripheral vision. There's so many different things that human beings can be gifted with in different areas and capacities, right? So for all of you that have watched this podcast, I want you to kind of try to focus on where you've been given these gifts and try to emulate the players that maybe have some of those, right? Because that'll better aid you in your quest to be the best soccer or football player you want to be. And we want to thank Hazem for coming on the show, for kind of giving us all this knowledge and input on all these different facets, right? So thank you, Hazem. Thank you for coming on the show. And his contact information will be on the bottom in the description, his email, and if you guys want to reach out, kind of get to know more about the game and reach out for some training, whatever it is you guys all need, it'll all be in the description. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ethan, for having me.